Good morning, men of God. Well, today's January 17th, so we turn to the book of Proverbs, chapter 17, for God's daily dose of wisdom. Right off the bat, guys, I want to ask for prayer because I got a migraine and it's getting worse, and I'm struggling right now. As I was going through Proverbs chapter 17, there's a couple of verses that stood out that I'd like to take a look at that talk about similar things. And we're going to contrast to compare these two verses. The first one is verse 8. Proverbs 17:8 reads, "A bribe is a charm in the sight of its owner. Wherever he turns, he prospers." The other one is Proverbs 17:23. And it reads, "A wicked man receives a bribe from the bosom to pervert the ways of justice." Now, at first blush, you might think Proverbs 17 is talking about a bribe being a good thing. A bribe is a charm in the sight of its owner. Wherever he turns, he prospers. And that word charm actually literally is translated as touchstone or stone of favor. The root of that is grace or unmerited favor, the same word that we use for grace. But that's kind of at the root of what this charm idea is all about. A bribe is a charm in the sight of its owner. Wherever he turns, he prospers. Sounds like a good thing. Sounds like bribes open doors. And in fact, in biblical times, a bribe was seen as a way of conducting business. It did open doors. It did grant favors. It did things for those who were able to afford it that the people who were poor just didn't have access to it. And we see that even today in our society. It seems like there's two systems of justice. There's a system of justice for the rich where they never get their comeuppance, and then there's a system of justice for the poor, and they get what they get coming to them. And the reason is because the rich people can buy good attorneys, and the poor people, they either can't afford an attorney at all, or they wind up with Joe Bologna sandwich who just passed the bar. So it looks like on the surface, the Proverbs 17:8, a bribe is a charm in the sight of its owner, is a good thing. But in fact, the unique thing about the nation of Israel around all the other nations that were in that area in biblical times was that there were specific commandments that were given to the people of Israel that were different than just conducting business as usual in the surrounding countries. In fact, in Exodus 23:8, we read, "You shall not take a bribe, for a bribe blinds the clear-sighted and subverts the cause of the just." Now, this is an instruction that's given to judges in that day, but it had a larger implication in terms of the way that you conducted business in the nation of Israel. And in fact, in Deuteronomy 16:19, we read something very similar. It says, "You shall not distort justice. You shall not be partial, and you shall not take a bribe. For a bribe blinds the eyes of the wise and perverts the words of the righteous." So what is a bribe? Well, it's a quid pro quo. We've heard that in the media recently, that quid pro quo means you do something for me, I'm going to do something for you. You scratch my back, I'll scratch your back. That's the whole idea behind a bribe. But it is a way of gaining unfair advantage. And that's why the Lord our God frowns upon it. Because he understands that all men are equal. And so our understanding of a bribe should be based upon the biblical principles that God has given us and not on business as usual. Because those principles of business as usual that surrounded the nation of Israel are actually permeating our country even now. We see it at the highest levels of our government. Quid pro quo. You do something for me, I'll do something for you. My prayer is that the people at the top echelons of our government would read the Bible, take it to heart, gain understanding and wisdom, and conduct business according to the way that God has prescribed. But of course, we know that's not going to happen. So it's incumbent upon us to pray for our leaders. That's why we are instructed to do that. So, my brothers, I pray that you go out and you make a difference in someone's life today. I pray that the attitude of business as usual does not even enter into our thought process, but that we conduct business in a way that is honoring to our Lord, who is the one who judges us all and who views us all as equals. I love you. God bless each and every one of you.